Hello, divine ones. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Oh, how the universe is constantly working in our favor. It's so interesting because I have these guest speakers lined up for you guys, like a couple weeks, sometimes months in advance, and um, a lot of what I come here to talk about is always so divinely in sync with what's coming next. And today's topic, I wasn't really sure about until the last week unfolded for me. And now it makes perfect sense. So, Wednesday, you're going to have a guest speaker who's absolutely magnificent chatting with you about the Akashic Records. And Friday's meditation is accessing the Akashic Records. And today, more than ever, I have a message for you about divine contracts, soul contracts, and really knowing what we were signing up for when we came here for this earthly experience, and just the magic and the beauty of the universe, and how, man, we can't even attempt to figure out the bigger picture in so many of these situations. And it's as we trust, it's as we deepen in, it's as we become one with everything that is happening, that we can really see the beauty of life unfolding for us, and how the universe truly has always had our back. So before I share this oh so personal experience with you guys today, I want to invite you to join me in Oracle, my mentorship program. It's actually closing this week. I'm inviting 9 women to truly embody their divine feminine as we gather together over a 6-month period to really embody the Oracle. And if you're looking for something more one on one, I have 2 openings in my one on one mentorship program, Embody Divinity, where for 6 months we work intimately together to discover the blueprint of your unique life here on earth so that you can truly and permanently embody your higher self as you walk in heaven on earth. You can find out how to join those 2 programs with the links below this episode, or just emailing me at info@nikylamariah.com. So I'm just going to start with like a story. I don't usually get crazy personal on this, but I'm going to give you some details of my life because I just closed a chapter today. And tomorrow's the first day of a new month at the time of this recording, and it feels like everything is fresh and new. It's also the start of my birthday month, um, and the Pisces energy is just so ooey gooey magical, um, that I just feel like miracles are on the horizon. So I've done so much work around relationships, and a lot of my growth came in the way that I responded to a lot of the domestic violence I was subject to, the sexual violence I was subject to, and then the way that idea within me that I could only be, that my love was kind of taken for granted, kind of became a pattern in my relationships. So after I got divorced from my kid's biological dad, it was a really intense and violent marriage, and I really left kind of like fleeing from my life and theirs. And um that started a journey of like deep self-love. You guys have already heard this particular story of, the day the divorce was finalized, getting diagnosed with cancer, but you've never really heard where it went from there. And so I got diagnosed with cancer. I got my master's degree. I did a lot of this deep healing, and I was single, relatively single the whole time. Like there were random people here and then, but I never fell in love. I never, you know, had another deep relationship for a long time. But 10 years ago, so 4 years after that breakup and the healing, and I was clear from cancer and all the things, I met this man, and I felt this immediate soul connection. Like, I still remember vividly the very first time I saw him. I remember what he was wearing, what he was holding, the smile on his face. I remember it all. It was an instant soul connection. And I wasn't well versed at soul connections or any of the things at the time. So, of course, I'm just thinking I have love at first sight. I'm head over heels in love with this man. And because I didn't really know about love, I was convinced that it was totally unrequited, by the way. Like, he was not interested in me. I very much know that. And it's cool. I loved big, and I have no shame for the way that I love or the way that I showed up. And that's what kind of makes this so beautiful. So I fall head over heels in love with this man, and I am not quiet about it. Like, I am all up in this man's face with my love for him. And we worked together. So I was a teacher, he was a tech guy. Like, I made every opportunity to run into him, to see him, to just like, I was just convinced, this little 23-year-old me was just so fucking convinced that if I loved him enough, he would love me, right? And I feel like we do this, especially women, we do this sometimes, of just feeling like the more we offer, the more we have to give. But what ended up happening was, like, I laid my heart out for this man. I think it was the first time I really felt a safe masculine presence. And I know from a higher perspective now, like, the soul love that was there, the soul love that's there among all of us, of him saying, I'm going to come into your life on earth at this exact moment, and I'm going to stir up these feelings with you, and I'm not going to reciprocate them, because I, as a soul, love you so much that I'm going to teach you how to love yourself. And we do this for each other, right? My ex-husband did this to me. He said, I'm going to love you so much that I'm going to be this violent person here on earth. And so that you really learn, you really own your power and divinity. And I know this is a hard subject for a lot of people until you can reach that higher perspective of life happening for you. But I know that this man's soul said he would do this. And so he's never given me any intention of having these feelings back, but I'm still just throwing my love. So it comes to the point in his, I don't know what's going on in his life. I truly know nothing about this man other than the stories I created in my head and the random little hangouts that we would have that would give me these little glimmers of hope, right? But he moves, and before he moves, I you guys, I wrote him a book. Like, I literally laid my heart out in a tangible book filled with poems and ideas and lyrics to songs and everything that I felt about him, all of this love that I experienced for him. And I gave it to him right before he moved, and he wasn't in his office at the time. I kind of just slid it in and whatever. And I never once heard from him again. And I created the story that he either threw it away or discarded it, or just used it as this thing to make fun of me with his friends, because I was in the belief still in that time that my love wasn't worth being cared for, that my love was something that could be discarded. And because I believed that when I gave that love to somebody else, it was up to them what they did with it that showed me my value. And so for the next 10 years, I went on this really massive journey with other lovers and partners, and never felt a love like the love I felt for him. And I do know that now that it was like this deep, pure soul love. It wasn't like this romantic, soulmate kind of love. It was like this deeper, higher perspective, like gift for me love. And so I spent the next 10 years of my healing journey really deepening into what I deserved, doing so much womb healing, doing so much embodiment work, self-mastery work, inner child work, to really teach myself and my inner child what healthy love looked like, what it looked like for people to value my energy and to receive my love, that my love was valuable and priceless, regardless if others received it, regardless of if they returned it, regardless of the way they treated me. My love was only a reflection of me, and how other people projected their love or ideas of love onto me was only a reflection of them. And I deepened and deepened into this for every single experience, every relationship I had with men and women, with my parents, with my children, with all of it. It was this deepening journey. And I longed for a divine masculine to come along and to match me, for my divine counterpart to be here with me. I longed for it for so long. And this is where you can start to see how the universe always has a plan for you. I never really thought about this man again for like the last 5 years. And about 6 months ago, I started to. Random little things reminded me of this experience I had with him. I felt like this deep shame and embarrassment for like how cringe I was. Like, oh my God, 23-year-old you like laid your heart out and wrote this man a book and did these things. And so first there was this shame. And so I deepened into compassion for this 23-year-old version of myself. I helped her to see like how she loved big was nothing to feel shame for, and that even if her ideas about this connection were wrong, even if he couldn't receive me, that she should always love big, that she shouldn't be embarrassed or feel shameful or cringy about the way she showed up. And so I deepened into this work, and I kept getting reminders. My daughter was playing one of the songs that I used in the book one day, and then I became friends with a guy that had his same last name, and I got to become friends with him and then learn this lesson and then release him, and it was just like these stories kept stirring within me of this experience that I had with this man. And then I felt a deep peace, and not only with him and this connection, but I felt a deep peace within myself where I no longer longed for or craved my divine masculine counterpart. I had this deep trust that he would come to me in the right time. And I also had this deep trust of I'm okay with giving my love fully. I'm ready whenever the time is right, and I'm perfect here and now. And so this moment was really deepened a couple months ago, and I've just been living life just full of love and excitement. And I made like this little, we'll call it a mistake, but I don't know if it was really a mistake, but we'll call it a mistake. I'm chatting with my friend one day, and I said the words, and promise you never want to say these words, okay? But I said the words, I'm getting kind of bored. Like I have this deep sense of fulfillment. I'm doing the work I love. Me and my kids are in this really peaceful place. I'm not really longing or searching for a man anymore. And like everything's kind of lined up, and I've done so much with my life, and there's this peace, but there's this also lingering boredom. I have decided from now on, if I ever feel bored again, the universe is only allowed to surprise me with good, exciting, pleasurable things. But lo and behold, I say that, and a couple weeks go by, and I feel really called for some reason to check the spam messages in my Facebook account, which I never do. I learned the hard way that nothing good can come from spam. But it was like this overwhelming feeling on a 222 portal. Really powerful day for like karmic releases and things. So I look in the spam, and you guys, this dude had messaged me. My heart dropped. Like I was like, like, oh my God, that feeling, the seeing his name, and like, why the hell is he messaging me? And where did he come from? And it's been 10 years, and what? And every emotion you could ever possibly think of. He had messaged me a month before, and I had just seen it on this date. And I open it, and he's so nonchalant, which also kind of bugs me, but it's okay. He was so nonchalant, and he said, hey, I found this picture of the fucking book I wrote. Do you want it back? And I had a whole different experience of like, wow, like why did he keep it? Why is it here? Why did he message me? I was going through all of this stuff, and I was hurt, and I was angry, and I didn't want this to be brought up again. I thought I had really dealt with this pattern. I couldn't see the bigger picture, which is so wonderful to have friends with clean energy and big perspective who really know you deeply, because I'm going through this, and At first I respond very egoically. I don't want him to see that he affected me. I don't want him to know that I want the book back, that any of this stuff. So I reply back with just a really stupid response, like, "Oh, I hope you're great. No, dispose of it. Haha, silly 23-year-old me." Whatever. It feels so inauthentic. My solar plexus is just screaming at me, but I don't know what else to do. So I send that message and it's eating at me. And my friend, she's holding space for me, and I know she wants to say more, but she doesn't, because she's also listening to her inner wisdom. And anyways, one night it's just like eating me alive, like something is screaming at me, like, unsend that message. He hadn't seen it yet, so I unsend it and I immediately feel free. And I go down to Park City and I have lunch with my friend, and she's sitting here and she said, "Can I share with you a different perspective?" And I said, "Sure." And she said, "This man may not have reciprocated your feelings. He may not have understood your love. He may not have felt that love back for you, but he literally kept your heart safe. He put it on a shelf and he kept it safe and he protected it for almost a decade. Your love wasn't discarded. Your love wasn't thrown away. This is proof of all the work you've done this last 10 years to not only do you believe that your love is valuable, but you gave it to the right person. You might have had these human ideas and attachments of what that meant, but you gave it to the right person. And for 10 years, he guarded it and protected it, regardless of if it was a romantic love or not. And in that moment, I felt this deep sense of peace. And I felt this deep sense of closure, like our story was done, like the contract between us had ended, like it was time for me to step into a new cycle of a healthy love, of a reciprocated love, of a love where I could give myself fully and it would be received, because I knew unequivocally that my love was worth cherishing, that my love wasn't something that could be discarded or thrown away or made fun of. And I had to own it within myself. And then the universe gave me this really beautiful, perfect blessing of an answer, of evidence of that. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would hear from this man again. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that he kept this book that 23-year-old me made. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that it would take me this long to close this pattern. And sitting now, reflecting and looking at it, that's how my whole life's been. You know, my cancer diagnosis at 20, like, what a divine blessing to help me hold space for the death and dying process now. The violence that I was subjected to, I can now hold space for these beautiful survivors. The relationships that really helped me deepen into wholeness because they didn't value me, I could now hold for myself and others. Every single thing I experienced was part of a bigger, greater divine plan that I never, with my human mind, could have imagined. And when I step back into the grace and knowing, when I see the evidence of the way that the universe has worked miracles in my life, there is no doubt that we have these sacred soul contracts with every single person we meet, whether it's a cashier, whether it's someone that we fall head over heels in love with and it is never received, whether it is someone that hurts and harms us. We have these divine contracts with others to help us deepen into parts of ourselves that we never knew existed, to help us expand into our fullness and our limits, to edge us out into the beauty of all that we are. Every single moment is life happening for you, and there is a much bigger reason why. And when we can lean fully in, knowing the universe is holding us, knowing that we can trust each moment, knowing that we are being provided for and protected in all ways, man, it feels so fucking good and so powerful to know that we are loved so much that even in our darkest moments, there is a plan. There is guidance. There is a way being shown to us into the deepest places in our hearts. We are being expanded into fullness and love. We are deepening into that acceptance for ourselves and the world. And then we can look around us at every single soul and we can see them for what they are. These beautiful, miraculous souls having a human experience, who chose to meet us here on earth for whatever reason they did. Because as a soul, they loved us so deeply and unconditionally, they were willing to teach us more about ourselves through each other. And that's what this human experience is about. And you might not have such a poignant experience like mine, but I know you've had your own moments where you look back on life and you don't know how it ever could have been a different way. And that is so miraculous to me. And I'd love for you to share beneath wherever you're listening or watching this episode, those moments for you, how it feels for you to know that you are part of this deeper, bigger plan, that as you sink into your own individuality and sovereignty, you are still held and protected and being guided along this path into your truest self. This is what living embodied is really about. Is that unending trust and knowing for the universe. It was in my willingness to sit with those emotions, in my willingness to come back to my heart, in my willingness to listen to Source, that I was able to experience this closure, that I was able to open my heart to the miracle this was, to have a perspective shift into the divinity of it all. To be able to feel so deeply and learn about myself so vastly for 10 years, and to be able to close a chapter and begin anew, such a blessing. And if it's possible for me, it's possible for you. And I know it's happening in and through you now, for you now. And I'm holding you through it, envisioning you wrapped in grace and love. And I hope you can feel that as you move forward today. I love you guys so much. I look forward to deepening the learning in this conversation on Wednesday with our powerful guest speaker, all about the Akashic Records. And if you want more insight into your own soul journey, Friday's meditation to access those soul contracts is going to be a beautiful place to go. And I'll see you next week too with a brand new inspired teaching. I love you guys. Plan on miracles.